All right, so our next storyteller is a lover and a fighter, and she is doing so much for our community. We are really excited and lucky to have Molly Burke here. Come on up, Molly. Oh, this has happened to Lizette. It's in my hand.
It's about to go down.
I didn't mean to do that. So last month, I went on my own to the Family Life Curriculum vote at the Tucson Unified School District Board meeting, and I got in line for security. Normally, the metal detector is placed inside the meeting room, but there had been so much controversy about this medically accurate, inclusive family life curriculum that hadn't been updated since the 90s, that there was going to be overflow in the courtyard. So I got through the metal detector, and I hit this wall of people in blue shirts with anti-family life curriculum signs. And this group is suspiciously well organized, religiously based, and anti-trans and homophobic. And normally they wear virginal white as their uniform of choice. And that night they were wearing blue. And I looked down at my blue button-down I had on at work all day. Damn it. I wasn't too worried that people would mistake me for someone who is against the family life curriculum. So I looked for any open space. That it was very packed, and there was a little bit of open space in the back of the courtyard. But I had to navigate through their bodies to get to that open space. And I didn't know what to do with my body. I didn't want to be there. It was hot, and this is a ridiculous thing to debate. And I wanted to be home with my wife and kids, having dinner. So I find that I actually come out as a mom all the time. I might just meet you once and I'll never see you again. But I find a way to sneak in that, oh, my kid does this. And then I'll slip in, oh, and my wife works at, because visibility matters. So I always knew I wanted to be a mom. In fact, I knew I would be a mom at a very young age, at 15. And I also came out as queer at 15. And those two truths were never in conflict with each other. So I started dating my wife 18 years ago, and I was like, hey, just want to let you know, I'm going to have kids. I'm going to be a mom. Just a heads up. Luckily, she was cool with that. She was super cool that I wanted to try to get pregnant because she did not want to do that to her body. And, queer couples, it's not so straightforward on how to make a family. So we had a lot of decisions to make and research to do. I like my research. And planning. And so we made our decisions, and it ended up that it was a struggle to get pregnant. It took a year and 7 intrauterine inseminations and 2 fertility clinics and a few donors. But pregnant, healthy baby, score. As not too long after, I was like, okay, let's get on number 2, because that was always the plan, because siblings rock. And Chelsea and I value and adore our sisters. Number 2 was a little quicker, only 5 tries. And again, healthy baby. And so for 12 years, I've been a mother. And the night before the vote, I find myself with my oldest working on a sign to bring to the meeting. And it says, "You can't erase us." And she's coloring in the us so perfectly with her rainbow colors. And she says, "Mom, the word erase, you have to use dashes when you make the sign." I was like, "Oh, that's brilliant. Do that." And so I'm in this courtyard, sign at my side, and looking at the signs being held by the folks in blue. And it's "Un hombre y una mujer." And we all know what that's coded language for. And then there's this 10-year-old girl, and she's holding a sign, and she's making eye contact with me. And it says, "Sex ed increases teen pregnancies and increases STDs." As I can hear from the laughter, you all know that's not true. It's the opposite that's true. She didn't come up with that false claim. Her parents taught her that false claim. And I'm just so livid that I'm in this space and they're occupying so much of it with their hate, and an inclusive, medically accurate family life curriculum shouldn't be a debate. And normally I would want to kind of hang back, stay out of the spotlight. I promise I don't like the spotlight. But instead, I found this 2-foot high, 2.5 feet wide cement block that was a little bit away from them and that no one was sitting on, no one was standing on. And I got up on that block and I rose up above the sea of hate, and I held the sign over my head, and I was planning on staying there for a couple hours. What I didn't expect was that a man wearing a blue shirt and an anti-FLC sign would leave his crowd and come up and take the 11 inches of space next to me, shoulder to shoulder, and raise his sign slightly above mine to void my voice and to try to erase me. And I was looking at him like, who is this middle-aged guy? Well, I'm middle-aged, right? And he's kind of soft in the middle, and I'm soft in the middle. And, he's got a blue shirt, and I have a blue shirt. And I harken back to when I first came out, and I would do coming out panels as a teenager with my queer youth group, and just how positive those were and how effective it was to share our personal stories and to cut down the stereotypes and connect human to human. And I'm like, this is just a person. I'm just going to talk to him. So I start talking to him about what's most important to me, my family. I say, I have 2 kids in TUSD schools and a wife, and we're making them lunches every day, and we're doing homework every night and soccer practices, and there's nothing we wouldn't do for them. And he never acknowledges I'm speaking to him. He doesn't turn. He says nothing. And I say, do you hear me? I mean, he's 2 inches from my body. I know he hears me. And I'm so livid that he has come and invaded my space, and I am attempting to connect with his Christian heart, and he won't look at me. So I say, do you hear me? And he turns and he says, okay. I don't ever want to scream to be acknowledged as a valid human being in your presence. And I would love to tell you that he turned and we became so close and shared so much. But something beautiful did happen. And that was my queer family came and allies came and they surrounded me on that block and they surrounded him on that block. And I felt their love and I felt a little buffer from the hate that was filling that courtyard. And I'd like to say there's an end, but there's no end because the vote was a vote to kick the vote down the road. But I got to go home to my wife and my kids who were asleep and take them to school the next morning.
Thank you so much, Molly. That was fantastic. Thank you for sharing that with us.